think that it's Brown's job to fix the city budget, but I do think that we should be contributing a bit more. I think that Brown should be engaging the city and coming up with solutions and setting an example for other corporations and institutions in Providence. Providence cannot afford to have fewer schools or fewer jobs. And as we stand on College Hill, Brown may feel separate from the city, but we are all part of this place. If we are really a community, I think we should be helping each other, and I hope that everyone in the city can come up with solutions. I hope that we reconsider pension funding and examine all parts of the budget. And as Rhode Islanders cut back, I hope that Brown realizes that they too are Rhode Islanders. And when the corporation meets tomorrow, I hope that they consider the impact that they can have on a city that Brown calls home.
The exchange of communication between the university and municipal government, as apparent in the media, gives the impression that the economic challenges facing Providence are not being addressed through genuine negotiation. On campus and in the city, I have heard people speaking of the two in very antagonistic terms. This issue, which is really about massive cuts to municipal welfare programs and schools, layoffs, cuts in benefits to public workers, and tax increases on already strapped city residents, is being turned into a battle between us and them. I am ashamed that my university is making residents in Providence feel like their very real economic realities are not our problem. And I'm deeply troubled by our failure to recognize that the members of the Brown community are also, and I think more importantly, members of the Providence community. I believe the university has a responsibility to pay its fair share to the city. I also understand the concerns of Brown students about where this money would come from. As a student on full financial aid, I too am weary. But I have also spent my last 3 years here volunteering extensively in Providence. In so doing, I have learned as much as I have from sitting in a classroom at Brown, which is a lot, and I have also seen firsthand the incredible inequalities that exist in this city. I cannot sit idly while more children are denied adequate schools, while more people lose their homes because they can't afford increased taxes, and while struggling families are denied access to social services. I am here today demanding that Brown University pay at least the $4 million agreed upon between President Simmons and Mayor Taveras, because city residents' livelihoods and security depend on it.
$4 million. Brown University's proposed settlement of $2 million per year for 5 years to Providence schools just doesn't cut it. We can double that. We can double it and provide the city with at least $4 million per year more payments, a number that is still below Brown's use of city services. Moreover, these payments should not be contingent on Brown University's further benevolent expansion into the jewelry district. Rather, these payments are payments that are long overdue on property that Brown owns right now. Instead of casting this as a rescue mission from Brown, let's be clear. Brown should and could have been supporting the city like this for years. It should also be noted that doubling the recent offer to an additional $4 million per year is close to the amount Brown would be paying if it were treated like any other tax-exempt institution in the city. Because of an infamous charter from the King George before the country was founded, Brown currently enjoys $4 to $4.6 million in tax exemptions that no other exempt in this city can claim. If Brown University wants to be a research and education institution of the future, it needs to stop living in the past. Brown University should receive no special treatment, and either a law invalidating this ancient exemption should be passed, or long-term annual payments in excess of $4 million should be paid to finally bring Brown into the 21st century. It has frequently been raised here on campus that increased contributions from Brown would significantly raise tuition costs for those receiving financial aid at this school. Now, I have no problem with Brown paying its fair share, translating to me paying my fair share, but trust me, as someone who cannot attend this institution without significant financial aid from Brown, I'm personally not interested in having to shoulder that obligation, and I don't think Brown should shift the tax obligation onto the back of those students who can't afford it or who can afford it least. Brown needs to find an alternative, flexible source of funding for that purpose, or God forbid, engage in some fundraising to this end. With an endowment of $2.5 billion and land holdings in the most coveted areas of the East Side, I'm sure Brown can find a way to pay its fair share. But that brings me to our second point. This is not just about a financial transaction, And this is not just about Brown paying its fair share. It's also about an opportunity for Brown to go above and beyond the call. In addition to long-term payments, Brown needs to engage in a serious reassessment of its long-term relationship with Providence and its community. This is our chance to envision a real partnership between Brown University and the Providence community. What could that look like? It's the possibility of what we could create together. Brown is in the midst of selecting a new president. Negotiations between the city and Brown have never been more tense. I think there's no better time than right now for us to set aside our differences and engage in a full and sustained discussion about what we could achieve if we work together. Perhaps it would look like a serious partnership in improving city schools, as is the relationship between the University of Pennsylvania and Philadelphia, or extensive and continued support for local small business startups, as does the University of Southern California. Or perhaps it would look like the University of Pittsburgh, whose motto is, "The city is our campus," and who invests heavily in neighborhood partnerships and city revitalization projects. Brown University wants to be a leader, but with regard to its relationship with the host city, Brown is far behind some of its peers. It's time for us to step up. It's time for us to all join together as a community to imagine what Providence can be. Imagine students, faculty, staff, administration, elected officials, youth, workers, artists, parents, families, community members, neighbors, joining together, not divided by the steep slope of College Hill, but instead united as equal citizens of Providence, Rhode Island. Thank you.